My husband forgot the past 8 years and wants a divorce. I have been with my husband Josh since we were seniors in high school. We broke up shortly after high school graduation but got back together a year afterwards. We overcame long distance, educational and job difficulties, unplanned pregnancies, medical issues, everything. He is my first everything. I cannot imagine life without him, but now I have to get used to it. 2 months ago, Josh woke up next to me shocked. He asked what I was doing on his chest and who I was. He likes to sometimes wake me up saying, "Hey, who's this beautiful lady on my chest?" But this was different and he wouldn't let me touch him and he started demanding to know where he was and where a woman named Lisa was. I was confused and scared to say the least. I tried to explain that I'm his wife and that he's home safe. Josh yelled he would have never married me in a million years. He started running around our house looking at photos of us and out of windows. He refused to let me get too close, so I called his mom and she talked to him on his phone. He freaked out that I knew his passcode and he started wailing about what was going on. I called his therapist and he was taken to the hospital. He was put on 5150 and I had his mom come take him when it was up. When he got home a week later, he accepted that I was his wife but kept saying us being together was wrong. He didn't go to work for a bit and I noticed he obsessively searching for a woman named Lisa who went to a college he turned down for me. I have never seen this woman and I wondered if he possibly had an affair in the past. I found messages to a number from him a week later where he begged Lisa to talk to him but she said she had no idea who he was. The phone wasn't public so he must have it memorized. I asked his mom about it and she asked him, to which he said, "She's the love of my life." He stopped and was so distraught he tried to take his own life. He went back to the facility and evaluated again. I was given options but I wanted him home. So he prescribed some medication. His sister stayed with us until he seemed stable, but Josh would act so coldly towards me, asking questions about why we got back together and how upset he was that we were. When we broke up originally, I cursed him out for 3 hours straight and later found out he had made a move on the girl he told me not to worry about. He would say he didn't know how he could love me again after all I said. He refused to do chores and would stay out into the night for hours. Over a month ago he came to me and asked for a divorce. He said when he told me I should find someone better after high school I should have done that because he can't bring himself to love me. How can I be with someone who is so obviously embarrassed to be with the old me? I told him he's not that insecure little boy anymore and he was the love of my life. He had been publicly embarrassed years ago in regards to me. He used to be insecure that I was too good for him and then that everyone knew that. My father, after meeting him, told me he was a loser, but I reminded Josh I chose him because I love him. I told him we moved past that and I thought we were good. He didn't believe me and said he couldn't imagine being happy with me. He left that night and was fine coming to get his things to move in with his sister. He looks at me with nothing but apathy and it hurts. His sister urged him to try again and he came back and I told him I don't want to throw away 10 years together over a mental break. We were both thriving career-wise and had virtually no issues up to this point. We were renovating this very house together. He agreed to try and we were fine for more than a month. It was like trying to date him again but everything seemed to moving in a positive direction. We even slept together and I thought that was proof things were great. He was so caring and attentive like I remembered so I figured he was getting there. He initiated it and wouldn't stop telling me how beautiful I was, like he remembered. Then 3 nights ago happened. I came home from work to find Josh sitting quietly at the kitchen table, drinking. He never does that. He had been waiting for me and then slammed divorce papers and his phone onto the table. His phone was open to text messages with explicit photos and mentioning of a night together with a woman named Lisa. Not the same one but apparently someone he met on Tinder. I will never forget the venom in his voice when he said, "Now will you divorce me?" I went to our room and locked the door and just cried. I heard him leave and his sister took him away. She texted me an apology and said she's turning him back into the facility but I told her to just take him and I'll sign the papers but not to tell him I was. I'm floored. My mother and brother are flying to help me with this. Everyone is shocked and I cannot fathom what has happened. We have been trying for a baby too. I'm seeing if I missed my period because we did it unprotected but now I wonder if I should get tested for STDs too.
My wife recently figured out my friend's wife was having an affair with me. 5 years ago, right after my divorce, I met this woman at a concert. She was a bit younger than me, but we hit it off and she wound up going to a bar with me and my friends after that show ended. It was a fun night and we exchanged numbers. At that time, I wasn't really using any social media except Facebook and that was just to keep up with my kids' school and activities. So, we never friended, just texted each other. At first the texts were casual, a little flirty every once in a while, but nothing to suggest there was any interest in anything intimate. Turns out she only lived 20 minutes from me, but we never met up or saw each other. After a couple weeks of texting we figured out we were both going to be at the same concert again, but this time in another city. It was a guy weekend for me and a girl weekend for her. So, her and her friends met me and my friends before the concert. We did a little bar hopping together. Her and her friends were younger than me and my friends and I was the only single one amongst my friends. My friends and I, noticed none of these girls were wearing wedding rings, so, we assumed they were all not married. They were all younger than us and there didn't seem to be much interest outside of being friends. That was fine. At the time I wasn't interested in a relationship anyway. After going to a couple bars, we went to the concert. Her and her friends had floor tickets and me and my friends had seats. I thought that was the end of it for that night. After the concert me and my friends went to a bar and then to our hotels. Right after I got to my room this woman texted me and asked if I wanted to come have some more drinks with her. She was at a place close to my hotel, So sure, I agreed. I went back out expecting to see her and her friends, but it was just her. I don't even think I finished my drink by the time we were heading back to my hotel. It was awesome. When we got back home, she started coming over to my house during the day. I have a flexible job and most days work from my house. She travels around the area for her job, so she had time to come over during the day. She'd come over after my kids went to school and left before they got home. Some days she was at my house almost the whole time my kids were at school. Even if it wasn't my time with the kids, she was there during the same time. Never at night and never during the weekends. It was just a friends with benefits type relationship. That was perfect for me. I was involved with my kids, even coaching 2 of their teams, so it never interfered with my time with them or my friends. Also, I wasn't looking for a relationship and definitely didn't want a relationship with someone that young that may want kids. I'm done having kids. I was upfront with her about how I felt, and she was fine with it. She said she wasn't looking for a relationship either. This went on for almost a year. Eventually I met someone, my now wife, and broke it off with her. She was fine with that too. We never texted each other again. A year after I met my wife, we got married. 2 years ago, I met this woman again at a neighborhood gathering. Me and my wife were introduced to her and her husband by a friend of mine. They had recently bought the house right next to his. When we first saw each other, it wasn't awkward or anything. We just smiled and said hi. I told my wife about our past when we got home that night. My wife is very understanding. We both accept that we both have had past relationships. No big deal. Her husband turns out to be a pretty cool guy. He starts hanging out with my group of guys friends and we become friends too. This year he joined one of my fantasy football leagues, so he friends me on Facebook. After I friend him, he friends my wife. My wife takes a look at his profile and asks how long ago I was friends with benefits with his wife. It was 5 years ago. She shows me a recent post that says he and his wife have been married 8 years. I'm in love with an escort. 8 years ago my wife passed away and I had a difficult time coping. Eventually I tried online dating, but went nowhere. I started seeing someone providing a service, and she was amazing. We really connected on an emotional as well as a physical level. I've seen her at least once a week for the past 5 years. I feel like we've grown close over this time and she's opened up to me as well. She's told me her real name. I've been to her actual condo. She's told me her reasons for getting into this industry. We talk about her family, and I've even taken her on vacation several times. We text daily. We've talked about her school and her career, and this is what's messing me up. I feel a strong connection, but I also realize it's her job, and I'm paying her. The problem for me is that she's now done school and is ready to move back home to begin her career and quit being in this industry. She told me all this during Christmas. She bought me a PlayStation 5 for Christmas. What the F? She said it was a thank you for being a great client all these years, and she said she is gonna miss me. She said that even though I was a client I always made her feel special. She said she is gonna miss venting to me and appreciated me always listening to her. She said she is planning on making the move this spring. I'm mentally preparing for it but don't know if I can handle it. I think I am in love with her. I want to tell her this. I want to tell her I love her and she means everything to me. I really think she has feelings too, but I don't know. Maybe she's really good at her job. It's probably a long shot, but I'd love to be in a real relationship with her. Heck, I'd even relocate with her. Should I tell her I love her? I'm 40, no kids. I don't have a lot of close friends. All I have is my career. What do I have to lose? I don't know. Then again, if this is all just a part of her job, I don't want to make her feel awkward. Update. So I told her how I felt. We had another amazing time this weekend. We were cuddling in bed and looking at potential homes for her when she moves back. She seemed very excited about her future. At this point I wasn't going to say anything. She seemed so excited about her future that I didn't want to ruin the moment. As we were about to fall asleep she said that she's going to miss this. I asked her to explain and she said she's going to miss snuggling with me, miss my massages, hair play, and chatting and hanging out. So then I told her how amazing a person she was and how I was excited for her future too. I said that she positioned herself to get everything she wanted out of life. I thanked her for everything she has done and how important she had been to me over the years. I said I have developed deep feelings for her and asked her if we can see each other once she retires. I asked her if I can take her out on a real date afterwards. Her response: I care about you too, but let's not complicate things right now and enjoy our remaining time together. She fell asleep shortly thereafter while I was up all night with my heart breaking. The next morning I apologized for making things weird. She said it's fine and she understands and not to worry about it. She seemed to be taking this all so calmly and casually, like it didn't affect her at all. Meanwhile I'm dying inside. Before I left she recommended a friend of hers who is in the same industry that I can see once she retires. Ouch. This was Sunday. For the next few days it was weird. Usually we text all the time. She'd send me cute pics and stuff, but there was barely any communication. Then I receive an email. She tells me that I have been an important part of her life too and that I've helped her grow throughout the years. She says that she has feelings too but are unsure of what they are exactly. Somewhere along the way the lines were blurred and she said it was her fault for letting that happen. She doesn't want to explore those feelings because she has to move on with her life. She says it will never work because there are so many obstacles to overcome. Mainly the fact that she will be living across the country. She says she is open to being friends but isn't even sure about that as it might complicate things. She suggested that we take a break from seeing each other for a while. I replied and apologized again for making things weird. I told her that she was special and I will support whatever she wants to do. Well, I am absolutely destroyed. I mean, I knew this probably wasn't going to end well, but I don't know how I'm going to get over this heartbreak. I don't know if I'll ever see her again. What am I going to do now? No one wants to be with a broken down 40-year-old man. For her, I am happy she is starting a new life. She will be successful in her new career, get married and start a family. I was delusional to think that it could have been with me. I want to thank everyone for the kind words and support. As for the ones with the negative comments or who have attacked me in my DMs, it doesn't matter to me. Nothing that you say can make me feel any worse than already do. Maybe it's time for some professional help, or I should just go see that other person she recommended. Update: I recently found out that my older sister is actually my biological mother. Okay, so I first of all want to thank everyone for your honest replies. It really helped me to get my feelings straight and get ready to confront her. So after a week of avoiding, I came to her house with a picnic basket by surprise, so I'll have a chance to speak with her. She was happy to see me and I told her to sit down because we need to talk. I started things with saying that I know that she has a secret that she's been hiding from me for years. Her face turned red and she started crying like heck. She knew what I was talking about. I told her the story about the DNA test, about Janet, and basically what I told you guys in the last post. Well, after she calmed down a bit, she told me the truth. She told me how she got drunk at a party and got with one of the jerks who does nothing but za every day. He didn't really care about a future kid and was like, yeah, whatever. Apparently she found out that 10 years ago he was unalived in prison. She told me how her mother used to convince her father to talk me out of the idea of keeping the baby. They would constantly fight with her. When the baby was born, they told her on the spot that she brought shame upon the family and they will not help raising the baby in any way, meaning she will have to work meanwhile to have money for her baby and sometimes for herself. After a couple of months of loaning from her friends and juggling between working and taking care of me, she had a huge fight with her parents and told them that if they are not helping financially and barely in any sort of way, she and me are better off without them. As they sent her to her room, she escaped in the middle of the night, hitchhiked to a neighboring country, and by morning she was there already. She tried to take care of me for a few days. She found an old abandoned house that used to have homeless people coming around every now and then, and she took me to the mall when I started crying. She started crying too. The couple that adopted us immediately came to our aid and asked if we lost our mother. Rose jumped on the opportunity and came up with a story and an alias. Police figured out we are not in the system for multiple reasons. We were raised in foster care for a year and a half until the couple that helped us decided to make the effort and adopt us so we won't be separated. It took them a few months and a couple of lawyers, but they managed to adopt us both. Rose knew all along that her parents are looking for her. They came to their senses after a day or so. She reached out to them and told them in a letter that she is fine and is taking care of herself and me. She is not homeless and found a nice couple to help her with the baby. She made it clear for them that she is never coming back and they should stop looking. And a month after that they stopped. A few years later her father went on a quest to find her. She was after 18. Secretly, after so much time searching, he found her and apologized, and after a while she forgave him and kept secretly in touch with him. He met me a few times and I knew him as one of Rose's old friends from the park. He helped us a few times and apparently they would meet up once every 2 months secretly. Ironically, I'm glad I got to know him before he passed, even if I didn't know who he really is. By the way, the adoptive family never found out about the whole thing. So after hearing this, I told her we missed a lot by not knowing she is my mother, and I told her I understand she did the right thing. I pulled out an "It's a Boy" sign from the picnic basket and some snacks for a late baby shower, and we hugged for an hour or so, had a lot of fun, watched a movie, and I headed off to my parents' adoptive house to have dinner with them. I'm glad she is my mother. I feel for the first time in years, complete. I don't care she lied because she did it for the greater good, and I honestly can't imagine my life right now if she didn't. Thanks Reddit for helping me getting my feelings straight and helping me out mentally to cope with everything that happened.
My husband's girl best friend is pregnant and she says it's his. Update 2. I have no idea how to start this. I'm at a loss for words and I feel generally sick, and this is the lowest point I think I've recently hit mentally. I'm going to try and be punctual for this, but I cannot stop crying and I feel so betrayed. Thank you all for the support and love you have given me, and so for this it has motivated me to tell everyone what has happened. Laura called me early in the morning, not sure why so late, but I wasn't doing much anyway. I was replying to comments and cleaning the kitchen, swallowing in self-pity. Pathetic, I know. She was shouting at me, calling me out for cheating on my husband first and that my hypocrisy was laughable. I was genuinely mortified since I'd never done that and asked her what she meant, and apparently my husband, the man that's supposed to back me up and love me unconditionally, told her a huge sob story lie. Apparently in our argument he told her I hit him out of a jealous rage and that I threw his stuff out the window, which is why he left. I told her I was the one to kick him out and he didn't leave on his own accord, and definitely never laid hands on him, especially since he is 6'1" and I am 5'4". She didn't believe me and told me the whole reason she had done what she did in the first place was to teach me not to cheat, and that my husband was a good man, and that if I continued, another woman who's better than me would take him, but in the end she decided to end it for him, so she sent me the messages. She agreed what she did was childish and also confessed to only liking him platonically and did him a favor because of all the horrible stuff I had done. I believe this was so she would take him in? I have no clue why he would lie about stuff this serious. After he was there for a while, she told her mother the same story he told her, and her mother has blocked me. I showed her the messages my husband sent, and after countless back and forths with her, we ended up agreeing to meet and that I should cancel meeting up with my husband. She's conflicted at this point in time since I told her the lies were fake. She also said that my husband told her that I knew about her after she saw him and me on a Facebook post. I'm guessing she did some snooping and my husband wasn't very private online. So she asked why I never was mentioned, and he said the conversation never came up, and I'm guessing that's where the lies begun. The day where he didn't come home till 5, was because she told him that she was going to send a picture of her friend's old pregnancy test to me and pretend it's hers so he could not continue with being treated like that, and he actually went to hers instead of going home to be confronted, and hoped it would all blow over in the morning. Laura also confessed that he also tried to entice her into making love with him, which she said no and thought it was a little odd. I'm guessing this caused her to call me since that moment was a red flag to her and was still on his side, but wanted to hear my side before she blocked me. I want nothing to do with him, and even the thought of him fills me up with hate. I've never met a man so disgusting. I never have once laid hands on my husband, and the allegations completely disrespect people who are actually stuck in those spousal situations. I don't know how much more I can put up with this, and everything is really getting to me. I'm genuinely sick and will certainly not be meeting him and want nothing to do with him. But hopefully meeting Laura to properly explain the truth. I doubt anything else interesting will happen, just boring legal stuff. If it does, I most likely won't make another update since I'm feeling mentally drained. Thank you, everyone.